Hey guys, how are you doing today? It's PE Gilbert, your blogger, writing consultant, and the author to the fantasy novella, The Sultan's Daughter. And today we are honoured to have an interview with the USA Today best-selling author and YouTuber, Stella Williams. Stella has written many books in the paranormal romance genre, including the Langsmith Shifters series, the Secret of Ceres series, and the recently released His Soul to Keep, among others. Stella is fabulous, positive, and very knowledgeable. Here is the interview. Enjoy. So, tell us a bit about yourself. Where do you come from? And how did this place influence your writings?
Well, I was originally born in Oakland, California, here in the US, for any international viewers. Growing up in such a cosmopolitan area, I was very much exposed to a lot of different arts and creativity, which uh, allowed me to consider writing as a valid career and not have some of the hangups that some people have when they're like, oh, I don't know if I should be a full-time author. I also moved around a lot. I've lived all over California. I lived in Japan for a little bit, Hungary, East Coast, West Coast. I've been all over, and I really enjoy taking the different experiences I had and the exposure to different cultures and incorporating it into my work.
What was the spark that made you decide to write your first book?
My first book was Xander's Claim. It was a vampire paranormal romance, and I had just gotten out of the army and was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I was just hanging out with my sisters. We're all avid readers, my whole family, and we were discussing plot and what we liked, what we didn't like, what we wanted to see. And they knew that I loved writing. You know, I always wrote short stories for myself. And they were like, well, you're not working right now. You're really good at writing. Why don't you become a writer, an author, and write a book? And we sat and they helped me brainstorm the plot. And that's how Xander's Claim came to be.
It's a good spark. It's again showing constructive use of your time. You didn't have a job, you didn't have somewhere to go. So do something with yourself. And that's exactly what you've done. It's brilliant.
Thank you.
You write in the paranormal romance genre. What three things inspired you to write in this genre?
Like I said, I'm an avid reader. I started out with Harlequin romances, super sweet romances, but in high school, I was introduced um, to J.R. Ward's Black Dagger Brotherhood series, and that um, really introduced me to the paranormal romance genre, and I fell in love with it. So when it came to sitting down to actually write, that was kind of the first thing that came to mind. I was like, this is what I like to read, so this is what I should write. The other two are mostly just because of my own, like, I didn't want to write anything that I had to, I know this is really bad to say, do a lot of research for. And I felt like fantasy, there's a lot of work you have to put into your world building and all of that. But I didn't want the pressure of having to write something that had to be like quote unquote by the book, realistic, like sci-fi, when people get really technical about things. I didn't want to get into that at all. And a lot of people don't think that that's an issue with in the romance community, but romance, contemporary romance has its own realism that you need to adhere to. And I've just felt a lot more freedom in the paranormal romance and then eventually the urban fantasy field.
You clearly enjoy writing in the paranormal romance genre, and that's a good enough reason. That's really good. You've chosen the right genre for you, and that's what matters most. You are a USA Today best-selling author. Well done. Congratulations. That is an amazing achievement.
Thank you.
As a best-selling author in your chosen genre, what makes a great paranormal romance book compared to an average one?
Honestly, it's all down to the preference of the reader, because I can read certain books that were raved about and they weren't necessarily my cup of tea. But there are some general things that I look for in terms of the genre as a whole. Um, it has to be imaginative. There has to be that like seductive element, and it also needs to be a bit suspenseful because I feel like paranormal readers are looking for more than just um, the HEA at the end. They want that additional backstory, and whether you put that suspense into the love story of the will they won't they, or into the whatever conflict is driving the paranormal plot of your story. Those are three major things that I look for.
Again, sounds like you know how to write a best-selling book. You put in the right features. That's amazing. Well done for highlighting them. And it seems like it's working. So keep doing it.
That's my plan.
You have a new book coming out this month, January 2021, called His Soul to Keep. Why do you think readers will enjoy it?
I think they will enjoy it because it's kind of a mishmash of the three uh, of three different paranormal tropes. So um, you have like in paranormal romance, you have like vampire, shifter, magic, aliens, mermaid, etc. Right? And in this novel, I kind of honestly, I just couldn't decide which trope I wanted to follow, so I just put them like, for some people that might be too much, but I really like how his soul to keep came out with my vampire alien shifter community. Um, and for those that are familiar with my previous series um, of Moore's Men and Secret of Ceres, this is kind of not a prequel, but and further explanation of the lore surrounding those peoples.
Which of your characters in any of your stories is the most like you and how?
Honestly, I do my absolute best not to write any characters that I feel really represent me or are based off of me in any way. It's that whole looking in the mirror thing. Like, do you really know what you're like? And what are you highlighting? Are you highlighting your faults or negatives? I feel like that would be very traumatizing to write myself into a story. Um, but art is reflective of your personality and your idea of social norms. So of course there's gonna be things that are somewhat similar. And for me, that would be just the passion and the dedication that my characters put into whatever they're focused on in that moment, whether it be a missing person's case or helping a loved one or, um, you know, just being there for a friend. Those are the things that I feel are reflective of me in my work.
What two things would you like readers to take away from your books?
One of the things I like to say is when a reader finishes my book, I want them to finish with a wistful sigh. And that's in reference to like when you eat just like that first bite of a really good piece of cake or whatever your favorite food is, and it fills you with joy and you're relaxed and you are super excited for more. So that's what I would want readers to take away from my books.
And I'm sure they do as well. Would you ever consider writing in another genre? And if so, which one or ones would you choose?
Yes, actually, part of becoming a great art writer is pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and playing around with different genres and tropes. And I'm very comfortable with paranormal and urban fantasy, but people are sometimes surprised to learn that like horror and thriller genres are like really hard for me. And one, because I'm a huge scaredy cat. I can write love stories about vampires and shifters and kidnapping and all that stuff, but like when it comes to just straight horror and like fiction writing, that's one of the things I strive to work on. And so if I had to choose a different genre to write in, I feel like I would really want to challenge myself with either horror or thriller.
Well, we all look forward to you doing it then. Take up this challenge, please. If you could go back in time and speak with a younger Stella Williams, what advice would you give her about the writing process?
Not to lose your joy in writing. Xander's Claim came out in 2015, and it took me 3 years to finish that series. And I know for a lot of people that doesn't seem like too long of a time if you're familiar with how long it actually takes to create a book. But for me, during that time, I really struggled with imposter syndrome. Like I put my book out and I didn't know what to do, and life happened. And for a moment, I lost my joy in writing. And it took me a while to get back to that and sit back down and write the third book in my Morris Min series. And obviously, since then, I've been great. So I've published multiple books and a pretty steady pace since then.
What is your writing kryptonite?
Foreign dramas. I love watching foreign dramas, K dramas, Chinese dramas, Taiwanese dramas, French dramas, Spanish dramas, you name it. I'm watching it all the time. I literally have in my planner where that's my reward for finishing things is I get to watch an episode because um, if I don't make myself like space it out, I will definitely just sit and get lost in it and finish like a whole 50 episode series in one sitting if I can. It's pretty bad. So obviously that's not really conducive to reading, especially since I have to be reading subtitles. So that would be my rating. Kryptonite is television and foreign dramas.
It's not a bad one. It's not a bad one at all. It's a great way to educate yourself about different cultures, different types of cinema, and it helps with your writing as well, I'm sure.
It definitely helps during writer's block.
How has writing changed you as a person?
I've been writing since I was very, very young. And like I said, I moved around a lot. And in those transition periods, and getting to know a new place and new people, writing was my safe haven. Anytime I had a conflict I didn't know how to resolve, I would write a short story, figure out how to resolve it. So I can't say that writing per se has changed me as a person, as I can say writing made me who I am.
When people read your books and they discuss them with you, how does it make you feel, especially when they talk to you about the more intimate scenes that you have written?
I'm always excited to have reader feedback for one. And it's interesting to see how readers interpret my work. I don't really get a lot of comments on my intimate scenes, um, except for my grandmother reads my books. And in my first, and she's always the first person to tell me if my books need a little bit of more spice in them. And then, like I said, my sisters, they helped me with my first book, and every time I'm stuck with a draft, I'll give them the book, and they'll set me on the right path. But as far as readers go, I try not to read the reviews too much. So unless somebody directly messages me, I have no idea what people are saying.
Outside of writing, what do you like to do in your spare time?
I've already mentioned my love for television and foreign dramas, but I love all forms of creativity and art. And so I paint, I crochet, I do paper crafting. Um, I, as part of my author business, I do a bit of graphic design work here and there. But I also like to share my love of creativity with others and help other people find their creative path. And I actually work in a juvenile detention center, helping kids in detention um, explore what I like to call their emotional vocabulary through art and literature. And that's a very rewarding experience. Being kids who have basically learned to shut down and express themselves in negative ways find a positive outlet through the art, and knowing that I was a part of the journey for them.
That's amazing work. You are changing people's lives for the better. You are a star, an angel, a gift from God, honestly. Lastly, and I cannot believe we're on the last question already, is there anything else you would like to say that you haven't already in this interview?
I want to welcome any potential new readers of my work. Thank all of the current creatives, as I call my current fan base, that have followed me through my journey as an author. And of course, thank you for having me for this wonderful interview.
And that's all I have for you today, guys. Thank you for watching, and I really hope you have enjoyed this interview with the USA Today best-selling author and YouTuber, Stella Williams. Like, comment, and hit that subscribe button, and tell me, what did you think of the interview? Do you agree that Stella is very knowledgeable about the paranormal romance genre? In the description below, I have left links to Stella's YouTube channel, her website, and to her social media accounts. Authors, take note. If you are looking for someone to review your book, then get in touch with Stella. Plus, if you enjoy reading the paranormal romance genre, then check out Stella's stories now. Moreover, my debut fantasy novella, The Sultan's Daughter, is out. If you are looking for a book that is short, fast-paced, and full of suspense, then check it out. I have left a link for the book in the description below as well. Otherwise, until next time, keep well. Once again, guys, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button, and then you will be the first to receive more awesome content from my channel, and I hope to see you again soon.